Welcome back to the Creating Distance podcast, hosted by TA Sales. I'm your host, Tom Alaimo. Some people call me Tommy Tahoe. And each week on Fridays, we'll be bringing you an episode to break down with salespeople and sales leaders the top tips, tactics, strategies, stories that you need to get to the next level of your career and up level yourself. So let's get into it.
Okay, Tom, appreciate you hopping on. So quick intro for you. You're a former A at Gong, President's Club winner there, now turned entrepreneur with 30K followers on LinkedIn. You've got a podcast, and now you've got 3 years as a full-time sales trainer under your belt. You train reps at the likes of Salesforce, Vidyard, IBM, Databricks, and many more. It's fantastic to be speaking with you, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Scott. I'm excited to speak with you too, and been a big fan of your content as well. So excited to chop it up a little bit.
Big time. Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I've been following your journey for a long time and taking a lot of inspiration as well. And yeah, looking forward to diving into just a few questions here. Obviously thought a little bit about your specific insights and what I can learn and what people can learn from you. So we'll dive straight into things, and I'm keen to kind of get your take on things. But yes, very stoked to be speaking. So the first thing I wanted to ask you about was on your website with your kind of sales training business, you've got your testimonial section described as raving fans. So I was curious, like, how does a sales rep turn a prospect from being just a lead to someone who is truly a raving fan, someone that's going to sing and shout and sing your praises from the rooftops? How does a sales rep do that and make that transition?
Yeah, so create raving fans is one of the guiding principles that I learned at Gong, and I've taken it over to TA Sales, and it's one of our values as well. And I just love the thought of, rather than thinking about someone as a prospect or a customer or someone that pays you money, how can I turn them into a raving fan of our business? And as a small business with a very small marketing budget, I need everyone to be a raving fan. When I train you, Scott, or your team, I want you to tell everyone about how great the experience was. So I think as a salesperson, you might think that's customer success's job. That's the account manager's job once they sign on. And that's true. I think it's a full team effort. But I do think if you're someone in new business, even if you're an SDR making that first cold call, every impression that you make on a prospect is in that buyer's journey is part of their experience with the company. So it's really how they view what your product is going to be like, what their experience is going to be like with you as a customer starts with that first cold call, cold email, discovery call. And so to me, like, I want to do things a little bit differently than other sales reps. Like a few things. One, I want to come with a really good point of view. I want to come, really well researched on a call. I want to have some fun. I want to be a little bit creative. I want to be funny. I want to leave a little bit of a memory. And in a world where people are in Zoom calls for 7 hours a day, everyone can blend in really easily. And so I think part of what I want to do is try to create a memorable buyer experience and a fun one, an educational one, and try to stand out. And I think to me, that's the first step of creating a raving fan. Now, your product has to be great, and you need to over deliver for them and all these other things on top of that. But to me, I think it starts as early as the first interaction you might have with someone.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question, was like, is this a new business thing, or is it AMCS? And it's often the kind of like stereotype of sales is you kind of like chuck the lead over the fence, we chuck the deal over the fence. But yeah, it's interesting to get your take. So in terms of a practical way that sales reps can do it, it's prep, it's coming with a specific point of view, so being thoughtful before the call, being the best version of themselves, effectively creating a fun, unique experience for the buyer. Like, have you got any specific examples of like how you've done that with either clients you've done right now, or maybe when you're at Gong, just to make it slightly more real world?
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you 3 ways that you could do this in a practical way. So the first that, like, we both have already brought up, I think, is the research and the prep. So for example, if I'm coming into a discovery call, my first question is not, Scott, what keeps you up at night as a VP of sales? I want to come in with a research point of view about your business and at Scott's, chair company, and do my research and say, Scott, did a bunch of research. Here's what I think might be happening here. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but, let me know. Do any of these 3 problems resonate? I've spoken with a lot of other chair companies that kind of look and feel like yours. And so I want to at least come in with a point of view about what might be going on in your business that can help, elevate the conversation. The second piece that I would do is, I want to be super on point, on anything related to like a demo, a proposal, how I run my sales cycle, like everything I want to be customized. I want to do the small things well. Like I want to send my follow-up same day. I want to, try to make sure I'm getting the right stakeholders involved. I want to be timely on my replies to someone. Like to me, that's just the professionalism and making sure that I'm handling the small things really well. And then the third piece that you can do, like in terms of trying to create a little bit more of a memorable experience, is like, can you just send like a little, like I send handwritten notes all the time. Anyone that signs on with us, I send them a handwritten note. I just heard from a prospect yesterday that it's his birthday this week. His wife's taking him to this like Ferrari racetrack or something. So like, cool. I know that he's a gearhead now. I'm gonna send him a little hat. It'll cost me $35. But he's gonna be super surprised that I came out with that. And just those small things to surprise and delight. Someone skips a call because they're sick, might send them a gift card for Uber Eats to get some soup. These small things that don't cost a lot of money, I do think help show that you actually do care and are more thoughtful than maybe the quote unquote average sales rep.
Yeah. And having come from like a corporate gifting SaaS solution where I was previously, we were huge on obviously these like moments that matter, surprise and delight, all the words we were using then. And I've seen pictures of your handwritten notes on LinkedIn before, and it's great to see you actually like going with that personal touch. But yeah, I think like in sales, it's rare from a new business perspective that you do get that real positive feedback as like a raving fan, but it does happen from time to time. And you do get that message to like your manager, or like the prospect will give it to you and say, hey, can you pass this on? I just wanted to share, like this experience was amazing. And you'll see it with peers as well, like high performing reps in the team, occasionally that you get this feedback. And I think that's one of the most, like one of the key things that I look for as a sales rep is like, am I getting that kind of like really warm anecdotal feedback from a prospect who basically owes me nothing, and I haven't even had the chance to build a relationship with from a customer perspective? But like if you're getting that kind of level of feedback from someone, it's a huge piece of validation that like, hey, you're doing a good job, I think. So, yeah.
Agreed.
Cool. So really keen to really appreciate getting your take on that. I guess the second thing I was keen to explore with you, so like you've been doing sales training full time for 3 years nearly now, and you've been traveling in North America. I've seen you've been around New York, and I've seen you've been in the back of cabs and all this kind of this journey you've been on, like looking dapper in your suit and tie. But I was curious, in all this experience of training some of the most successful tech companies across B2B, what is the most common pitfall that you see crop up time and time again amongst sales reps? And like, how do they overcome it? What's your resolution to this common pitfall that you see?
Yeah. I think, in today's world, information is everywhere. If I want to learn how to write a good cold email, the information is easy to find. I can go to your LinkedIn, you can go to my LinkedIn, you can go on a number of different people's social media, read a book, it's on YouTube. The information is out there. And so there's no one from a training perspective that has the secret key that is in a lockbox that no one else has access to. The philosophies are all out there. The key is in the execution. And to me, the key is to try to turn it into a habit. So oftentimes folks will, if they're hungry, they either will go out and learn something on their own, or maybe a company will bring someone in to do a sales kickoff or bring a team in like ours to do it. And there's usually some light bulb moments that come across like, man, I never thought about that for my cold call or for my discovery call. And you might try it once or twice. And then 2 weeks later, you're back to doing the same old thing because you didn't instill it as a habit, and life gets busy and you got a number to hit. And so for me, the key focus area that like I'm such a deep believer in is we've got to turn it into a habit, right? So to me, there's a few things that, you can do. Let's say you're trying to go from like an inbound mindset to an outbound mindset. And I call this outbound mode that we teach. There's a few steps. Like one, and you can read a book like Atomic Habits to help with some of this. But number one, like you want to make it as easy and attractive as possible to turn that into a habit, right? So if you want to start prospecting, you might start with some common things like blocking off the calendar. You might prep the night before. You might have an accountability buddy on your team or your manager that says, hey, from 9 to 10 every day, I'm going to be making my cold calls. You're going to eliminate distractions, things like that. sort of a goal for yourself. And then, at the end, you might even give yourself a reward. I've got a dog. My dog's actually at my feet right now. And when I want him to not pee in the house or do something bad, I give him a treat, right? And we might think that we're smarter than dogs, and maybe we kind of are, but you can actually use the same tricks on yourself and give yourself a reward as well to rewire your brain to want to do that hard thing. And so, to do that outbound mode, to make those cold calls, you can eliminate the distractions and take some of those negativities away. And you can also reward yourself at the end and say, cool, after every call block, I'm going to go take a walk around the block, get some sunshine. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. I'm going to scroll Instagram for 5 minutes and get some cheap dopamine, whatever it is signaling then to my brain that tomorrow when I step back into the office and it's time to make the cold calls that I'm afraid to make or don't want to make, I'm more likely to show up because I've made it easier for myself to actually do that. So I would, whether you're a seller and need to do this yourself, like try to create some of those systems. If you're a sales leader or an enablement leader, in my opinion, that's on you to try to create those systems for the team to make it as easy as possible to actually adopt the good lessons that people are getting from a trainer or from social media or a great sales book.
So that was gold. I guess my follow-up question here is, like, for you as a sales trainer going in and identifying a challenge and a problem that a company has, and then a way that they can resolve it, and then you deliver that training in person, how do you actually get the team to follow up? Is it by sharing that information with them and then holding them accountable? Or if not, like, how else are you actually checking that they're implementing the learnings from your trainings?
So the way that we operate, we don't do like a one day I'm not a believer in the 1 day workshop personally, no shade to people that do it. But all of the engagements that we do are multi-month, and it might look like, Monday, we're talking about a topic for the week. Let's say it's a cold call opener. All right, how do we make this happen? How do we practice? And then at the end of the week, how do we share what actually happened? Let's share some call recordings, how to go, what was good, what was not good, what can we improve for next week? Should we do some role plays with people? Should we do some role plays with AI? Like really trying to get in there. And so I don't do, and this isn't about like me and what we do, but I don't personally do like thousands of engagements. We personally choose to do few and go really deep with companies so that we can try to get the habits to stick. And that's just what I, as it relates to sales.
Nice. But yeah, so it's about like having the checkpoints, having the accountability, and then like actively looking back and saying, okay, what have we put into practice? Cool. Well, last question. I know we don't have too long, but obviously you left like a high paying, 6-figure plus salary at Gong and chose to dedicate your career to sales training. So I was curious, like, why are you so passionate about sales training, and how important do you see it in elite selling?
Yeah. I think sales outside of owning a business is one of the very few careers that you can really, own what your outcome is. And, when I was 18, I was too afraid to, call to get a pizza delivered. And I stumbled across, I don't know if they have Cutco knives out in across the pond, but basically that was what I did, was door to door selling high-end knives to people in their homes when I was 19 years old. And I turned from someone that was, really shy, didn't have a lot of confidence, never would have, mistaken me for someone that would get into sales, and really built out some of those beliefs and skill sets in myself. I've seen personal friends and people in my family go from jobs they hated, not being able to provide for their family, going through a tough layoff or personal situation, get into sales and feel more fulfillment, be able to provide more for their family, be able to pay off hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt, so on and so forth. And so I think for certain people, it can be a really, really great profession and a really great craft. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of positive talk about that when you're in school. There's a lot of negative, kind of remarks people make about sellers because of, Wolf of Wall Street and used car salespeople and things like that. And so I'm a really big believer in the craft of it and what it can do for your life and for your family. And I'm trying, my mission is to try to positively impact salespeople every single day. And so to me, Gong is a great place, and like selling SaaS is like awesome. And like for some people that is the right thing. For me, I get a lot more fulfillment out of coaching someone, seeing their success and seeing them make some of those, growth patterns that I did earlier in my career, I get way more out of that than selling, a technology for another company. But that's just me and something that I'm passionate about.
Nice, man. Well, I appreciate your take on all of the above. Yeah, like I said, I've been following you for years now and taking huge inspiration from the journey you've been on. And today was extremely insightful for me, hopefully insightful for others. So yeah, huge appreciation for your time. Great to connect, and yeah, hope to keep in touch moving forward as well. But yeah, all the best for the future, man. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Likewise. Appreciate you, Scott.
Thanks for checking out that episode. Two quick things as a takeaway. Number one, we would feel honored if you left a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, if it's on Spotify or Apple or YouTube, to just let us know how we're doing, what else you'd like to see. If you'd like to learn more about us, you can check us out at tasales.co. Love to hear from you there. Much love. Have a great week.